Hello, I'm Michael Losier. I'm the author of the best-selling book, Law of Attraction. You're about to listen to step one of the three-step process taken from my book, Law of Attraction. And today's audio is of particular interest for law of attraction in relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, business partners, children, whatever you want to have better in existing relationships, you can use law of attraction to do that. Real quickly about my book, Law of Attraction, it's divided into two parts. And the first part is how to stop attracting negative things. That's really important to do. It's virtually impossible to attract new things if you got a negative things going on. So part one, how to attract negative things. And part two of the book is the three-step formula on attracting what you want. So you can attract whatever you want when you follow the three-step formula. This first audio that I'm giving for free will do two things. It's going to teach you how to stop attracting what you don't want. And I know that you are, particularly around relationships. You might be one of those people that keep saying, why do I keep attracting guys and girls like this over and over and over? Guess what? It's all about your vibes. In this first free audio, I'm going to teach you how to reset your vibe. And when you reset your vibe, you're going to reset the results. And then you're invoking law of attraction. Matter of fact, you can download worksheets that go inside my book as well to walk you through the process. In the description field below here in the address is the page to go to get the worksheets. And also for those of you that are stimulated and thinking, hey, I want to learn step 2 and 3, you can go ahead and take a look to see how you can purchase the 3-set audio. I do promise, however, listening to this one audio is going to be very significant because it's going to teach you how to reset your vibes. Enjoy the audio and be sure to share it with friends. Cheers.
Sandy, is this the Sandy I think it is?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's the Sandy that travels with me and is my right-hand person.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
all right.
Where are you from? You must have seen us at a seminar then.
Sandy, it's Frankie.
Oh,
hi, Frankie. Hi. Sorry, I didn't know who it was. Hi.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is Michael Losier. This is class number 1 of the 5 classes on how to attract your ideal mate using law of attraction. And just a reminder, the classes are being recorded. Now, some of you are going to be so enthusiastic about this class that you're going to want to share it with other people. Okay, now what we need to do, before I even go into that little spiel, we need to manage some background noise. So for those of you that think that you need to be rustling some paper and stuff, and that's okay, you might want to go on mute.
How do you mute, Michael?
Okay, the top right-hand pad of your page, I want you to write *6 equals mute.
Okay.
And if you want to say something, it's *6 equals unmute. And my job is to let you know if you can hear noise in the background. Okay, stop muting, people. Stay unmuted. Okay. Again, this is a 5-session series. It's called Attract Your Ideal Mate Using Law of Attraction. You got a really, really good price on it, $79. And the reason why I made it a really low price is because I'm recording it, and I'm going to be adding it to my library in the end of March. So probably another 3 months I'm going to add it there. But I gave you guys a good deal for coming. So a lot of you are going to be enthusiastic. You're going to have results, and you're going to want to share the program with others. And the best way to do that, and I'm going to encourage you to get them to sign up for this class or get them to sign up for my membership library so they can enjoy what you've enjoyed as well. So when I send you the MP3 files, they're for your purposes only. So does that sound like a fair deal?
Yep. Sure.
You would keep them for your purposes only. That's fair for me. And you know what? Somebody else wants to attract their ideal mate. I mean, I ask people, I said, would you pay me $79 to attract your lifelong mate? What would most people say?
Yes.
Yes. People spend more on drinks trying to find their ideal mate. You can do it for $79. So out of fairness, you can invite people to sign up for this class by, even get them to email me, or you can get them to purchase the $99 library, and that'll be here at the end of the month. Okay. My name's Michael Losier. A number of you have either read my book, Law of Attraction, or some of you have seen me in seminars, some of you have been in other teleclasses, some of you have been loyal followers of me and my work for a number of years, but you all have one common denominator, is that you'd like to attract an ideal mate. Now, I'm going to use the word mate throughout this program, but it really means different things. It could be a roommate. Would that be nice to attract an ideal roommate? Or an ideal housemate? Or any ideal relationship? Maybe it's a client, or a supplier, or an assistant, or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. But I'm going to talk through this program as if you're trying to attract your ideal mate, which could be your main partner. But I promise you, once you go through this program, you'll say, hey, I'm going to use this to attract my ideal assistant and my ideal client and my ideal referral and my ideal this and my ideal that. So during this class, it's very participatory, and there's going to be homework that I'm going to get you to do. So I want you to be using the work you learn here towards attracting your ideal mate. Some of you already have heard me talk about what law of attraction is and how it works, but I'm going to assume that you're all brand new because this will be the first time for some of you that you're going to learn that it's all about vibes. It's all about the vibe that we have. This is not about physical attraction. You know, when you talk about, when you look at all the different websites and the dating services, they don't match you to a vibe. They match you to what? What kind of attraction?
Characteristic.
It's physical attraction. You know, I'd like someone tall, dark, and handsome. Well, does that mean they have a good vibe?
Oh.
Have you ever met somebody that's tall, dark, and handsome, but's a real creep or a real, you know what? Yeah, tall, dark, and handsome. So when I ask people, what's your ideal man, they say, ooh, tall, dark, and handsome. And I said, you better watch out for that. I've got some tall, dark, and handsome men in my life, and I wouldn't want to have lunch with them. So you are going to be doing something completely different that's taught anywhere, is that you are going to match vibrations. Because sometimes, boy, we get hooked up with somebody and we thought, God, he's nothing or she's nothing like I thought that I was attracted to, but we just really, really like it. Anybody have that experience where physically they weren't your type, but vibrationally they were? Yeah, we've had that experience for sure. Now, sometimes you'll hear people say opposites attract. Opposites don't attract vibrationally, but they attract physically. I want you to write that down. Opposites attract physically. In other words, somebody really tall can attract somebody really short, and we would say what? Said, look at those. Are they ever opposite? And for somebody like me, who's a big husky guy, I tend to attract people that aren't husky. So big people attract small people, and small people attract big people. So that people would say, wow, look at those two. They're such opposites. But opposite vibrations don't attract. What do?
Repel.
They repel. Who wants a relationship like that? Well, most people have been in that, unfortunately. So again, as we go through the program, I'm going to be asking you to do some homework. And as you're doing that, you're going to be using this. And at the end of the program, you will be much more closer, if not attracted, to your ideal mate. In other words, you'll start to notice people that you're attracting in your life are matching what you said you wanted. Because when you change your vibration, you change the results that you're getting. I want you to write that. When I change my vibration, I change the results I'm getting. Okay, we're going to take a few notes here. I'd like you to write this down. This is the definition for law of attraction. I attract to myself whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus to. Let's stop right there. Boy, that sounds delicious, doesn't it? You mean I can attract to my life whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus? And I said, yes, you can, but we're not quite done the sentence. Here's the rest of it. Whether negative, and use the negative symbol, whether negative or positive. Boy, that changed the story, didn't it? Somebody read that back for me, please. Remember to state your first name.
Okay, this is Kate.
Hey, Kate.
I attract to myself whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus to, whether positive or negative.
I was hoping, Kate, it was going to sound better when you said it.
No, it's still.
So double underline the word negative. Boy, that's what we're here to figure out. I mean, I don't want to attract somebody negative. Well, I know that you know that I know that you don't want to attract somebody negative, but I also know that we are attracting things that we don't want. So what's up with that? And I promise you in the next 20 minutes you're going to clearly understand why it is you keep attracting relationships that you don't want. So how does law of attraction work? Well, it's all about vibes. Write that down. It's all about vibes. Now, of course, vibes is, one of those cutesy, everyday, common words, and we use it. And we use the word vibe to describe a mood or a feeling. So we might meet somebody and we'll say, wow, were they ever giving off a negative vibe? Or, wow, is this person's vibe ever good? Are most of you used to using the word vibe? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And you use the word vibe when you're describing a mood or a feeling. You might even go into a store and say, wow, are the vibes ever bad in here? Is it something you smell or see? No, it's something you feel. You can. I mean, is it true that you can pick up somebody's vibe even without talking to them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can I ever feel their negative vibe? So my point here, and I'd like you to write this down, a vibe equals a mood or a feeling. A vibe equals a mood or a feeling. So every time we talk about a vibe, we're talking about moods or feelings. And what's the difference between a mood or a feeling? It's a trick question. Nothing. There's no difference. They're just two different words. Now, of course, the word vibe, even though teenagers are using it all the time, it really comes from the longer word what? Vibration. So let's write that down. A vibe equals a vibration. And law of attraction is all about vibrational energy. You can write that down. Law of attraction is all about vibrational energy. Now, is that the clearest definition you've ever had about a vibration? Many people have lots of challenges trying to describe what a vibe is, vibration. Well, don't try to describe what a vibration is. Nobody uses that word anyway. The word we do use is the word vibe. But we're here to talk about relationships, and we want to be in relationships where the vibes feel good, positive vibes. And in the vibrational world, there's only two kinds of vibes. So draw a line down the middle of your page, about 6 inches deep. And on the left-hand side, this is going to be column. On the left-hand side, at the very top right, negative vibes. And on the top of the right-hand column, right, positive vibes. So remember, we're talking about vibrational energy, and in the vibrational world, there's only two kinds of vibes, negative and positive. So let's hear from 5 people, remembering to state your name first. What are some moods or some feelings that when you have them, it causes you to send off or put out or emit a negative vibe? What's an example? Who'd like to go first?
Michelle. Oh,
Thanks, Michelle. What's an example?
fear.
Fear. Okay, when I'm feeling fear, am I sending off a negative vibe? You bet. What next?
Carol, anger.
Carol, anger. Next.
Frustration.
Frustration. So we have fear, anger, frustration. Next.
Disappointment.
Disappointment.
Hurt.
Hurt.
Sadness.
Sadness. Shame. Blame. Disappointment. Rage. There seems to be lots. Matter of fact, there are thousands of words that we use to describe negative vibes. Okay, let's hear from 5 people we haven't heard from. Let's go to the positive side. What are some moods or feelings that when you have them, God, you're putting out a positive vibe? What's an example?
Joy.
Joy. What else? Say that again.
Excitement.
Excitement, thanks.
Optimism.
Optimism. What?
Gratitude.
Gratitude, yes.
Appreciation.
Appreciation. Bliss. Contentment. Abundance. They're all feelings. Matter of fact, if you went through the dictionary and you highlighted every feeling word, they would end up in one of those 2 columns. I'll say that again. If you went to the dictionary, by the way, that takes about 8 hours. If you went to the dictionary and highlighted every feeling word, they would end up in one of these 2 columns. Either it causes you to send a negative vibe or a positive vibe. But here's my next question. When do you have a mood or a feeling? Between 3 and 4 in the afternoon?
All the time.
All the time. Everybody hear that? When do you have a feeling? Right now. And right now. And right now. And right now. And right now. At every moment of every second of every day, of every minute, of every hour, of every lifetime, right now, you're all having a mood or a feeling. And if you're having a mood or a feeling, that means you're doing what? Vibrationally.
You're sending out a vibe.
And you're not even doing it on purpose. Matter of fact, when you're angry about something, you don't tell yourself, I'm really ticked off. I think I'm going to send a negative vibe to match that. Or if you're going out on a date and you're feeling disappointed, you don't tell yourself to send off a negative vibe of disappointment. It just happens. So I'm going to summarize everything you heard me say so far. A vibe is a mood or a feeling. And at every moment, including right now and right now and right now, everybody has a mood or a feeling. That mood or feeling is causing you to send a vibration, and there's only two kinds. It's either negative or positive. And here's where law of attraction comes in. You know, law of attraction is really a science. It's really metaphysics. It's really vibrational energy. Law of attraction, this energy around you, is matching the vibration that you're sending by giving you more of the same. I'd like you to write that down. And when I say law of attraction, it's easy to write LOA. Law of attraction is matching the vibration that I'm sending. I don't know what that is, by the way, so we're just going to pretend it's a little happy thing. So instead of offering a negative vibe whenever we're here, we're going to say, isn't that cute? It's cutely annoying, but isn't it cute? Okay, what was the sentence I said before that?
Law of attraction is the vibration I'm sending at any...
Is matching the
Law of attraction is
vibration.
matching the vibration that I'm sending, whether negative or positive. So law of attraction is a science, and because it's a science, it means it doesn't have a brain. And it doesn't decide, and it doesn't... In other words, if you're sending a negative vibe, what does law of attraction do to it? It matches it. It doesn't decide whether that was good or bad for you, or whether it was helpful or not helpful, or whether it was good or bad, or negative or positive. It's obedient, and it's going to match it. So if you're sending off a positive vibe, what's law of attraction doing? It's going to match
Matching that vibe.
Now, let me give you an example. Now, I know this is not you, but I bet it's somebody you know that gets home from a date, and it wasn't very good, and they call their friend and say, oh, my God, I just had the worst date ever. He was this and this and this, and she was this and this and this, and I didn't like this, and I didn't like that, and I didn't like this. The whole time that they're talking about that, what is the vibration that they're sending?
Negative vibration.
And then what's law of attraction doing as it's eavesdropping on your vibration at every moment, including this moment right now? It's doing what? It's matching it. And then you go on the next date and you get the same thing. You say, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep attracting people that are late? They're always late. Every time I have a date, they're late. They're always late. For the last 3 years, they've been late. Isn't that cute? They're always late. So as you're complaining that they're always late and they've been late and every date you have is always late, are you giving it attention, energy, and focus?
Yes.
You cannot not attract it if you give it attention, energy, and focus. So my latest e-zine and my latest article was called, if you get home from a disastrous date, what do I do? Well, don't tell anybody. And particularly teenagers, I can imagine, and I'm being fair, and I'll say, you know, teenage girls, boy, can't they go through their Rolodex and call all their girlfriends? Say, oh, my God, I had the worst date. And then they call the next girlfriend. Oh, my God, I had the worst date. And they tell about 10 people. And do they tell people the next day about the date they had last night? In other words, they just spent 3 or 4 hours talking about how bad the date was. And when you talk about what you don't want, what are you doing vibrationally?
Bringing it back to you.
That's right, because law of attraction doesn't know whether you want it or don't want it, or whether it's good or bad for you, or whether it's helpful or not helpful, or whether you want it or don't want it. It's matching your vibration perfectly, and if law of attraction had a voice, it would say, wow, I were doing a good job. I brought her another late date. Everybody get that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there might be somebody that's moved away from their base of their telephone. I hear a little bit of static in there. So if that's you, you can get closer to your phone again. Oh, I get all excited about that subject. And it's important. We need to understand that law of attraction is matching your vibration all the time. So do you suppose that we want to be more deliberate in the vibration that we're sending?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because when is law of attraction checking? When is law of attraction checking?
Every minute.
Right now. Make sure the vibration that I'm sending is something that I want and not something that I don't want. Now,
Hello?
Hello?
have a negative vibration?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Yeah, we're not sure who you are. We're having a class. Okay. Anybody answer that question?
What was the question, Michael?
You're cut off.
The phone is cutting out.
Can you still hear me?
No, we lose you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cut in and out, though.
Yeah, I think somebody picked up a phone or something, and I forget what my question was. Here's the other thing that you need to know about me, is that I don't have notes, and a lot of the information I talk about just comes to me. So if I get interrupted, like that little happy beep, 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 or something happens, you'll often hear me say, what did I just say? Because I don't know what I just said. So what did I just say?
You talked about being more deliberate in the vibe you are sending.
Thank you very much.
Being very intentional with your
we want to be intentional. So in order to be, because we all want to attract our ideal mate. We want to use deliberate attraction, and in order to be a deliberate attractor, I need to be doing what? I need to be doing something
Positive.
No, well, close, but it's a D word. In order to be a deliberate attractor, I need to be doing something deliberately. And if I'm doing something deliberately, does that make me a deliberate attractor? Yeah. So write that down. To be a deliberate attractor, that means to attract something on purpose or deliberately. To be a deliberate attractor, I need to be doing something deliberately. That's why it's called deliberate attraction, because it makes you do something deliberate. And the words we use, that's where I was, the words we use and the thoughts we think generate negative vibes or positive vibes. In other words, could I just use simple words right now that would generate a negative vibe within you all? Yes or no?
Yes.
And could I use words that would generate a positive vibration within you?
Yes.
Are some of you feeling more uplifted now than when you came to the call?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All I've used is words.
Optimistic.
I haven't had to feed you or kiss you or give you a drink or give you food or anything. Just words. So you are going to learn something really important here if you don't, and it's not in my book. So it's going to be in my updated version of my book. So this is going to be new for most of you. I want you to draw 3 boxes together.
Draw what?
3 boxes the size of a match carton, and draw right beside, right beside each other, left, middle, and right. 3 boxes. In the first box, I want you to write the word word. So what goes in box 1?
Word.
The second box, I want you to write 2 words, one on top of the other. The first word is thoughts. And underneath the word thoughts, in box number 2, write made up of words.
That goes under where?
That goes under the word thoughts in box 2. So the first word is thoughts, and underneath it, made up of words. That's what a thought is. A thought is made up of words. And then after you have a thought, then what does it generate?
Feeling.
Feelings, and we're calling that what in this class? Vibrations. So in box number 3, write the word vibration, and underneath it, draw a positive symbol and a negative symbol. Okay, on the top we need to give this a title, right? We just did a model. Here's the title. Relationship between words and vibes. So this model is showing you the relationship between words and vibes. So if I'm having negative emotion about something, I don't mean physical pain, but if I'm having a negative emotion, based on this model, where did it come from? Just back up.
Words.
Back up 1 box. If I'm on box number 3 and I'm feeling a negative emotion, where did it come from directly?
From your made-up words.
Yeah, it came from my thoughts. And people said, that doesn't make sense. And if someone's feeling sad, what are they thinking about something that makes them sad?
Yep.
Yes. See, emotions come from thoughts. And then what was in the thoughts that made it a negative vibration?
A word.
Word. Now, I'm going to reveal to you 3 of those words that always generate a negative vibration. So here's the good news. There are 3 words Do you know what the bad news is? There are 3 words. Most people, not you, but most people have used them at least 100 times today. So underneath the word word, we're just going to bullet these 3 words outside of the box, below the word box. The first word, big capital letters, don't. Second one is not. And the third one is no. Don't, not, and no. In other words, every time I use the word don't, not, and no in my language, in my sentences, in my thoughts, it generates a negative vibration. So let's test this. Well, I don't want to attract someone that's always late. Was that positive or negative vibration? I want to attract somebody. Negative? I don't want to attract someone that doesn't have any money. Is that positive or negative?
Negative.
Every time you use the word don't, not, and no, you now just gave attention to what you didn't want, which was a negative vibration. So when people come home and talk about their date and how they didn't like this and they didn't like that and they didn't like this and they didn't like that, they're saying all the things that they didn't like, which causes them to offer a negative vibration. And now law of attraction is unfolding and orchestrating whatever needs to happen to bring them more of the same vibration that they're offering, because that's what it does. It matches vibration. So here's your homework between now and the rest of your life. To eliminate the words don't, not, and no from your vocabulary. But like everything else, it's a learned behavior, so I'm going to give you a tool to do that. So in your notes, I want you to write this. Every time I use the word don't, not, and no, every time I use the word don't, not, and no, I'll ask myself in big capital letters, so what do I want? So let's find out what happens, because remember, we're looking at this words, thoughts, vibration box. If I said, well, I don't want to attract someone that's negative, I mean, that in itself is negative, right? But as soon as I caught myself saying don't, not, and no, a little voice in my head said what?
What do I want?
Yeah, you just said what you didn't want. What do you want? So if I don't want to attract somebody negative, what do I want?
Positive.
I want to attract somebody positive. If I don't want to attract someone that's always late, there, I just said don't, not, and no. A little voice in my head said ding, 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 ding. You said what you didn't want, so?
I want someone that's on time.
I want someone that's on time. I don't want to date a smoker, so what do I want?
Non-smoker.
Okay, now I'm going to play with you a little bit. A non-smoker. When I say non-smoker, did I give attention to smoker?
Yes.
Yes.
So I want someone who's healthy in mind, body, and spirit.
That's right. You can say, if I don't want a non-smoker, what do you want? I want somebody healthy. I don't want someone that doesn't have any money, so what do you want?
I want someone who has money.
There you go. So here's my point here, and I do have one. I'm going to say it once so you hear it, and then you can write it down the second time. So just hear it the first time. When I talk about what I don't want, it's a negative vibration. When I ask myself, so what do I want, the words change. Did y'all hear that? The words change? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. And when the words change, what else changes?
The vibration.
The vibration changes. And how many vibrations can you have at any time?
One.
Very good. So let's write this down. When I go from what I don't want to what I do want, the words change. Just say yes if you agree with that so far.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when the words change, the vibration changes. And I can only have big capital letters, O-N-E, one vibration at a time. You know what I'm pretending that little beep, beep, beep is? Applause.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting some applause. I can only have one vibration at a time.
I like that.
Well, you know what? I'm the master reframer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by reframing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody tell me, what does reframing mean?
Saying
Wording
something in
something
another way.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm saying something I'm looking at it through a different point of view. Yeah. So everything can be reframed. And law of attraction is a lot about reframing. Everything can be reframed. Somebody read that sentence back for me. Who'd like to do that?
It's me, Frankie.
Go ahead.
When I go from what I don't want to what I do want, the words change. And when the words change, the vibration changes. And I can only have one vibration at a time.
Listen to all the applause. That was fun.
Maybe we should all do that.
Not sure why it's on repeat. Okay, so we love that. Now, as you're offering the new vibration, what's happening? Anybody? When you're offering this, then when you're holding the new vibration, then what's law of attraction doing?
Attracting more of the
Making it
same.
for you.
Is it remembering your vibration you had before the current one?
No.
Sure?
Yep.
Yeah. Law of attraction matches current vibrations. Put that down. Law of attraction matches current vibrations. So the vibration you had yesterday is different. It doesn't matter. So here's the best news of all, is that, and particularly around this subject in relationships, is that all of you are going to be able to reset your vibration for the one you have for relationships. I want you to write this down. I can reset my vibration, we'll say, around relationships. And based on what you're just learning, I can reset my vibration around. How do you reset a vibration?
Have different words and thoughts.
I love it. That's how you reset a vibration, is you change your thoughts by changing the words. So you don't have to take any pills or anything. You can all do this. And when you change the vibration, what changes?
The words.
The results.
The results. When you change your vibration, you change the results you're getting. Now, here's a question. I want you to think about it before you answer it. If you want to know what the vibrations are that you've been sending about your ideal boyfriend or girlfriend, how can you find out?
By checking your results.
Checking your results. Very good. Everybody hear that? If you want to know what the vibration is that you've been sending about any area, in other words, for your relationship, take a look and see what you've been getting. It's a perfect match.
It's like Dr. Phil says. How's that working for you?
Yeah, how's that working for you? So, you're thinking, I wonder what my vibes are about finding a date. How's that working for you? I wonder what my vibration is around finding my ideal mate. Well, what are your results?
So what's the time frame, Michael?
Well, that's a good question. We're going to talk about that later, but how fast you attract your ideal mate is going to be dependent on how much doubt you have in it. Because what kind of vibration is doubt?
Negative.
So if you have a really positive vibration, you say, yes, I want to attract that, and a little voice says, you can't do that. The voice of doubt, which is a negative vibration, has now canceled off the positive desire. So you're really in this class to learn how to offer the vibration and get rid of the doubt.
So you really have to believe it.
What's that?
You really have to believe it.
Well, you don't have to believe it. The believing will come when you get rid of doubt. See, a lot of people say you need to believe it. Excuse me. A lot of people say that you need to believe something. You can't automatically believe something. The believing something is a result of not having doubt. Faith is a result of not having doubt. When I get on the Oprah Winfrey show, this is going to be the subject, because I hear her tell everybody all the time. She'll say things like, oh, just believe it and it'll happen. Well, you know what? Technically, she's right. But in order to believe something, you need to get rid of what?
Doubt.
Doubt. So I'm in the business of teaching people how to get rid of doubt, and as they remove doubt, the believing surfaces. You can't directly go to believing. Believing is a result of not having doubt. Oh, someone write that down. I love that. Believing is a result of not having doubt. So, we're going to do a little quiz. Well, I haven't done it yet, and you're applying already. I love that. We're going to do a little quiz, and I want everyone to participate fully. I promise you that throughout this program, I'm going to be using lots of integrated techniques and lots of accelerated learning techniques. What does that mean? What's an accelerated learning technique mean? What makes it? What's that? What's that?
A shortcut?
It's not really a shortcut. Accelerated learning. The words are the definition's buried within the description. What is it?
Something we've been normally doing would be normal learning, and then you're going to teach us something new to move on from there.
Okay, well, we could call that new learning, but what does accelerated learning mean?
It's like speed reading.
Yeah, you're going to learn how to do it fast. So if I just lectured in this one class, would you really retain and learn as much?
No.
No. You know, we've been a half hour so far, so I'm going to test my accelerated learning techniques that I've been using. In other words, I want you to learn this fast. So if I had a lecture, boy, half of you would be doing a grocery list. Nobody's doing a grocery list right now, right?
No.
No, because I got you taking notes. So here's what I want everyone to participate. I'm going to repeat everything you already heard me say, and I want you to kind of fill in the blanks for me, and then this will give us a test. And I promise you, some of you will learn more in this retain more in this 5-hour series than you might have done your whole life in a university course. And I'm going to prove it right now. So here's what we've heard so far. At every moment, including right now, everybody kind of has a mood or a
Feeling.
So right now we have a mood or a feeling. Now we learned that mood or a feeling causes you to send off or put out a what?
Vibration.
A vibe. Now vibe, of course, being a really common everyday word, but it really comes from what longer word? Vibration. Applauding. And how many vibrations are there? How many kinds of vibrations are there? Two. And what are they?
Negative and positive.
Yes. So every mood or feeling that we have causes us to send out a vibration, either negative or positive. And when do we have a mood or a feeling?
All the time.
All the time. Right now, you all have a mood or a feeling, and that mood or feeling is causing you to send out a vibration, which is positive or negative. So that means right now, everybody's sending a vibration, and the obedient law of attraction is doing what to the vibration that you're sending right now?
Matching.
Well, how does it know whether you want it or don't want it?
It doesn't.
How does it know whether it's good or bad for you?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It simply matches the vibration that you're sending in the moment. Now, we've learned that there's three main words in your vocabulary that are really the culprit or the reason why you keep attracting what you don't want. What are those three words?
Not and no.
That's right, because every time you use the word don't, not, and no, in that very moment, you just brought attention to what you didn't want to bring attention to. And as you bring attention to what you don't want, what's law of attraction doing?
Bringing you more of the same.
Bringing you more of the same, whether negative or positive. But we have a little correction to that, because every time you hear yourself say don't, not, and no, it could be my voice in your head, or it could be your own voice, or you might even picture the sentence that starts with so and ends with so.
What do you want? What do you want?
What do you want?
Because when you go from what you don't want to what you do want, the words change, and when the words change, what else changes?
Your
vibration.
And how many vibrations can you have at any time?
One.
And how does law of attraction remember what you were offering yesterday vibrationally? Doesn't. So when I said you all have a reset button, it means you can all reset your vibration around relationships. And you're going to learn how to do that by changing the words and the thoughts that you're thinking, and that's where we're going to go to now. So just acknowledge how much you learned in this first half hour. And is it true that you have a better understanding about law of attraction and why you'd attract things that you didn't want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. Now, I want you to take a blank piece of paper. On the very top of the page, I want you to write formula for deliberate attraction. Formula for deliberate attraction. Don't we love there's a formula? Why is it helpful to have a formula?
To follow.
Done?
You can refer back to it.
You can refer back to it. It's like a recipe. Does a recipe expire?
No.
No, you can use it tomorrow, next week, next year. So here's a formula. Come down a couple inches and write step 1. Identify my desire. Come down about 5 blank lines, and write step 2. Give my desire attention. Now, in my book, what do I call it?
Clarity.
Raise vibration. So when I raise my vibration, it means I'm giving it attention. So I'm kind of changing how I describe that. So it's really giving it attention. Come down 5 blank lines and write step 3. And step 3 is allow it. All 3 of those steps or conditions need to be in place for you to deliberately attract something. Now, looks pretty easy, doesn't it? First one, I know what I want. That's easy. But you know what? We're not really good at talking about what we do want. But are we ever good at talking about what?
We don't want.
Oh, I ask people, so what would be your ideal mate? And they'll say, you know what? I'm not sure. If I would say, what don't you want in a boyfriend or girlfriend, could they give me a list?
Yep.
Can I shut them up? No. So we're going to learn how to identify your desire. I'm going to teach you this model. You'll be able to use it in any area, but we're talking about relationships. So underneath identify my desire, I want you to write the word tool.
What is the word?
Tool, T-O-O-L. And here's the tool. You know, I'm good at doing 2 things. The first thing I'm good at is telling you what to do, but I'm even better at doing what? Telling you how to do it. Because a lot of people said, well, you need to get, excuse me, a lot of people have said, you need to get clear about that. And you say, how? And they say, I don't know. You need to get clear, though. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do and tell you how to do it. So we need to identify our desire. We need to identify our ideal mate. Well, how do you do that? Here's the tool. I want you to write this. Clarity through contrast worksheet. Clarity through contrast worksheet. Okay? Now, when you come to every class, I want you to put this off to one side because this will be the formula, and I really want you to burn it into your head, drill it into your head. This is the formula. So just rip it off, or however you're doing that, just put it off to the side. Now, that's the balance of the class today. We're going to talk about step 1. So first thing I need to do is introduce the term contrast. You know, when I was studying Abraham Hicks' work, they used the word contrast, and it made so much sense for me that I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that word too, but I'm going to make it a little bit easier. I want you to write contrast equals anything that doesn't feel good. Contrast equals anything that does not feel good. Now, if you smell something and that's contrast, do you keep smelling it?
No.
No. If you eat something and you don't like the taste of it, do you keep eating it?
Oh.
Yes or no?
No.
If you turn on your radio and you listen to music that you don't like, do you keep listening to it?
No.
If you're in a relationship and it doesn't feel good, do you stay in it?
No.
Sometimes.
Yes.
20 years?
Just for a couple years.
25 years? So isn't it interesting when it comes to smells, how things smell, how things taste, how things sound, how long do we observe contrast for?
Depends on what it is.
No, not, yeah. In those cases, pretty brief, right? So
Right.
write this down. Observe contrast briefly. Now, I didn't tell you how long briefly was. When it comes to smells, how long is briefly?
Second.
When it comes to shoes, how long is briefly? Like an evening, right? But when it comes to relationships, boy, it's 25 years. When it comes to, what's another area in our life that we observe contrast longer than briefly?
Jobs.
Jobs, yeah. People stay in jobs that don't feel good. And what's a couple others? Our health and money. So they're in this order: relationships, jobs, health, and money. Top 4. I've been teaching 10,000 people this subject. These are the top 4 areas of people's lives where they tolerate contrast. And as you're experiencing contrast, what's law of attraction doing to it?
Giving you more of the same.
Giving you more of the same. So would it make sense to observe contrast briefly?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, here's something else I want you to write down. Contrast is essential People say, oh, Michael, you're so lucky you don't have contrast. Oh, I have it. But what's the difference between me and somebody on the street when it comes to contrast?
You observe it briefly.
I observe it briefly. Now, what's that? Somebody have a question? So observe contrast briefly. Now, you'll notice I never told you how long briefly was. Everybody understand that?
Mm-hmm.
It's none of my business how long you observe it. I'm just, if you used to date people and for 5 years and never felt good, and now you're down to 4 years, is that better?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now you're in a relationship for 3 years, and you say that's enough. Well, 3 years is better than 5 years and better than 4 years. So we're going to learn how to do it briefly. Matter of fact, you're going to learn how to do it on a first date. Never mind this 25-year plan. Let's do the 25-minute plan.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be able to feel the vibration of contrast, which is a negative vibration. Now, the reason why contrast is essential because it helps birth desire. Write that down. Contrast helps to birth, B-I-R-T-H. It helps to birth clarity. Now, when you have clarity, how does that feel? Do you ever get clear about something? You got clear about a job, you got clear about the movie you wanted to go to, you got clear about, oh, yes, that's the car I want, exactly. I'm so clear. So clarity turns into what?
Desire.
Yes, clarity generates desire. So in the very first exercise, we need to identify our desire, but the best way to find your desire is to get clear, and the best way to get clear is to take a look at contrast. Brand new piece of paper, or on the back of this one, at the very top right, my ideal mate. Now remember my friend, when I asked her what her ideal mate was, you know what she told me? Tall, dark, and handsome. Does that say anything about vibes?
No.
No. So draw my ideal mate. Now draw a line underneath it from the left to the right, and now draw a line all the way down the middle of the page. So now you've just created a left-hand side and a right-hand side. On the left-hand side, write contrast. And in brackets or right underneath it, write what I don't like. On the right-hand side, write clarity. And what can we write underneath it?
What I do like.
What I do like. So let's, actually, my friend Betty, for those of you that have been in my seminar, you know my friend Betty. She's kind of like, she's a little bit negative about stuff, and I'm supporting her to attract her ideal boyfriend, but she's got lots of resetting to do. So I'm having lunch with her, and I'm hearing her talking about she keeps attracting men.
Oh, he blacked out again.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Michael, we miss you.
Hello.
I think he's still talking, too, so we're missing all of this.
Well, lots of us are missing it. And
Michael? Hello?
hello.
Hello? He's having us experience through contrast. Sandy, are you there?
Oh, shucks.
Hello, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Well,
You
you
just now came back.
anything you said, we did not hear.
Okay, I have no idea what is going on because I'm not even touching any buttons.
The last thing we heard was your introduction of Betty.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. Nobody touch any buttons, please, including our applause meter. Okay, so I'm having lunch with my friend Betty, and I'm really tired of her complaining about all the stuff she talks about men, and I know that's why she's attracting it. So we have these paper placemats at the restaurant. So I turn one over, I draw a line down the middle of it, and I say, Betty, tell me what you don't like about the men you're attracting. So I want you guys, so let's pre-number 1 to 7. On the contrast side, right underneath, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. What's one thing she might say that she doesn't like about the men she keeps attracting?
Bad manners.
They have bad manners. So she says, well, I keep attracting men that have bad manners. And I would say, well, what else?
Inattentive.
They're inattentive. I keep attracting men that have bad manners. They're inattentive. What else?
Always late.
Always late. What else?
Self-absorbed.
They're self-absorbed. What else? Oh, by the way, is this an easy list for her to give me?
Yes.
Oh, I can't shut her up now. They're self-absorbed. What else? I say, okay, you keep attracting men that are bad manners, they're inattentive, they're always late, they're self-absorbed. What else?
They don't have any money.
Okay, they're broke, they don't have money. Okay.
Not good looking.
They're what?
Not good looking.
They're not good looking. They don't match her standards. They're not good looking. And the last one, they're negative. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, so as Betty's giving me this list, what she's really doing is that she's articulating what her vibe is. So could law of attraction not give her this if that's what she's offering vibrationally?
No.
If that's what she's given vibrationally, law of attraction has to match it. So what are the chances if I said to her, so, the last guy you attracted, did he have bad manners and was he inattentive and was he late and self-absorbed and broken and he wasn't good looking and negative? What would she tell me?
Yes.
She said, yeah, the last 5 have been like that. Now, is that what she wants?
No.
Is that what she's vibrating?
Yes.
Yes. Do you get what you want or you get what you vibrate?
Vibrate.
I want everyone to write that down. I don't get what I want, I get what I vibrate. Now, I don't have to have a crystal ball talking in front of Betty, but when she tells me the kind of guy she's attracting, that means that's the vibration that she's sending. Now, she can only give me 7. You're going to have your homework is to do this for your ideal mate, and I want you to come up with 50.
How many?
50.
50?
50. If you're having problems thinking of contrast, go back a boyfriend ago. Go back 2 girlfriends ago, see what happens. Was there contrast there and then? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, I could keep asking, what else, and she would keep giving me more and more and more about, and really build a big list. Here's a key question. The bigger the contrast list, the bigger the what?
Vibration.
Clarity list.
Very good. Write that down. The longer I make my contrast list, or the bigger my contrast list, the bigger my
clarity list.
The bigger my clarity list. Now, remember Betty said that she wanted tall, dark, and handsome?
Mm.
Well, there's nothing there about vibe. So how are we going to go from contrast to clarity? What are we going to say? What are we going to ask? What are we going to do?
What do I want?
What do I want? So I'm interviewing her, right, because I'm supporting her. I said, well, Betty, you said you don't want men with bad manners. What would you like? What can she say?
Polite, good manners.
Polite, good manners. So let's write those down. Polite and good manners. Now we're done with number 1. What can we do with it now that we're done with it?
Cross it out.
Cross it off. It's kind of a symbol to say I'm done with that. Next question. So Betty, you keep attracting men that are inattentive. Well, what would you like? What would she say?
Attentive.
Attentive. Interested in her. See how one positive thought generates another one? Interested in her. Cross off inattentive. Always late. Well, what do you want?
Punctual.
On time.
Punctual.
Punctual. You can use many words on the right-hand side. Now, so far we've only got 3 things here. I want to prove my point. If I were to say, now, Betty, would your ideal mate be polite and have good manners and attentive and be interested in you, be on time and be punctual? What would she say?
Yes.
Yes, I'd love that. But the only way that we were able to get to that clarity was to look at what?
The contrast.
Contrast. So repeat after me. Contrast is essential.
Contrast.
The 2 of you said it, but you all meant it. Contrast is essential. So some of you are going to get to this unless you're going to say, oh, I don't want to write the contrast. I promise you it is essential. You could only birth clarity through the brief observation of contrast. This is important for you. Because before she said tall, dark, and handsome. Now she can say, well, my ideal boyfriend's tall, dark, and handsome, and he's polite, and he's got good manners, and he's attentive, and he's interested in me, and he's on time, and he's punctual. Is that more clarity?
Mm-hmm.
And is he giving attention, energy, and focus to that whole big picture? Yes. Let's do one more. Self-absorbed. That's what you don't want. What do you want?
Pays attention to me.
Yeah, it pays attention. We have balanced communication. I keep attracting dates that are broke. What do you want?
Money. Financially
I want them to have money. I want them to be resourceful. I want them to be generous. Okay, so we are going to summarize all of the points here about this exercise. The very first step in deliberate attraction means I want to deliberately attract something. The very first step says you need to get clear. And how do you get clear? Well, you need to get clear by taking a look at what you don't like. Now, I've been training you not to talk about what you don't like. Now I'm telling you to build a list of it. Why is it okay to build a list of what you don't like here?
So you can eliminate
clarity.
it.
Clarify.
Get clarity. And how long are we observing this contrast list?
Briefly.
It's briefly. So, yeah, you're going to have to delve into this list and build a list of 100 things. Some of you are going to want to jump right to the clarity side, but I want you to stay in that mucky contrast side long enough and go back 2 or 3 mates and boyfriends and girlfriends ago so you can have a really robust contrast list, because the more contrast you have, the more what you have?
Clarity.
The more clarity. So, even for me, would that make an ideal mate? Someone that's polite and mannered and attentive and interested and on time and punctual and attractive and balanced communication and has money and resourceful and generous? Would that make an ideal mate? You bet it would. Now, there's a little voice in your head thinking, where's that going to come from? Are you there yet?
Oh, yeah.
You're only on step 1. Step 1 says identify my desire. Did this worksheet help you identify your desire?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. It's right in front of you.
And Michael, this is Jackie, and you can always keep fine-tuning it, too.
Well, that's really important, Jackie, to say that, because, you might have been in a relationship that had all of that, and you're dating, and all of a sudden you find out this person is really from another country, and they're not sticking around. Well, you know what? I forgot to put that on my list. So the truth is, rarely do you ever have to start the list over. I mean, will you always want somebody polite and mannered and attentive and on time and punctual? Yes. There'll come a time. So maybe you go on, we're going to learn this in later classes, where you go on a date and you come back and thinking, wow, they were everything, but we still weren't a match. I noticed that he drank too much. Well, I better put that on my clarity list.
And Michael, Jackie again, what I've learned, because I've been doing this for years, about 15 years, and I'm always fine-tuning it, and adding to it, and what I've learned is you learn more about yourself also.
Yes, about what you like and what you don't like.
Right, and your desires do change over time.
Yes. Well, what's so ironic is that I just ended, mutually, my last partner and I, we just ended our relationship of 18 months, like a year and a half, and that was like on December 20th while I was preparing this class, and I thought that's okay because I had a really delightful relationship, and even ending it was a beautiful ending. We went to Vegas and we talked. We had a meeting together and we talked about what's working. And there's some things that aren't matching. And it's all about matches. Write that down somewhere. It's all about matches. And so we said, okay, this doesn't match. This doesn't match. And we never made each other wrong, but we got to say, now is that something that we can change? And we both said, you know what? Part of my personality is to do it this way, and it doesn't match for you. So we came to but now everything that I loved in that relationship was on my list, but now I get to add new stuff that I didn't know that wasn't on my list until I had the experience.
Right.
So just what you're saying, Jackie, it's all evolving. And here's the other thing. I want you to write this down. It's not what happens to me. It's not what happens to me. It's how I respond to what happens to me. So here's what your homework is. You have 2 pieces of homework. Your homework is to, on a yellow sticky or a little recipe card or something, I want you to write the words, so what do I want? And when would you use that? When you catch yourself saying what?
Don't, not a no.
Don't, not a no. So start training yourself to do that, because you're going to say, oh, I don't want to date a woman that wears too much makeup, and it's go ding, 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 ding. What do you want? That's reframing it. And the second thing is I want you to do your ideal contrast through clarity for your ideal mate. Good. So that is everything for today. But, I've been talking through the whole class. I know you've been taking notes. And so the class is officially over, but I would like to hear from as many people as we can as we exit. And I'd like to hear, and I'd like to hear from everybody, what was something, and if you share and you want to leave, that's okay. We're not going to have any more new content, but this is really a fun part of the class where I want to hear from everybody, what was one thing that you got today that was a hallelujah moment, or what was one thing that you got that added so much clarity to you, or something that you're so glad that you came to tonight's class. So who'd like to go first?
This is Jackie.
Thanks, Jackie.
And I've heard it many times about that you're attracting to you, what you're exactly the same thing, more of what you're thinking and you're feeling.
Yeah.
And but putting it down on paper, it emphasizes it, and you could see it right in your face. And I've always known that, you could talk for an hour, like what you have. If we didn't write it down, we're only going to remember 10%. When you write it down, you remember something like 80%. And it really is an aha moment when you see it right in your face that what has been happening all your life.
Yeah, well, I would show my list to Betty and say, here's your vibration. I didn't have to take her pulse or hook her up to a machine to find out what her vibration was. She told me. Remember, the words you use and the thoughts you think generate a vibration. So when you build that list, you're going to look back on the list and say, no wonder I'm getting what I'm getting. Look what I'm vibrating. Law of attraction could not match that vibration.
Michael, a quick question. You started off, at the beginning of the class, you talk about, you come home from a date and you talk to all your friends about these horrible things that happened.
Yeah.
And you're saying, don't talk about it. Okay, then what do you do with your head?
Well, based on what you just learned, what would you do if you came home from a date that was a disaster? What would you do?
I would write down the negatives and then do a contrast of positives.
And you don't need to tell 10 people to do that, right? Say, I didn't like this, Because if you go on the next date, you're going to carry over that last vibration because it's in your memory.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to say, I keep attracting bad dates. It's because you haven't reset the vibration. Everybody hear that?
Mm-hmm.
You have to reset the vibration. Now, who was I? I know the woman that does my bookkeeping. I met her over Christmas, and I was talking about my relationship and how I ended it. She was sad for me. I said, don't be sad. It's great. We're both moving on to new relationships. And she said, she goes, I ended my relationship, too. It was a disaster. And she was going on and on and on. And she said, and my old boyfriend's come back to in my life. I said, you know what? Because he's the same vibration as your current boyfriend. I said, before you go on any dates, you need to reset your vibration because what she's telling herself about men are all the negative stuff. So if you're going to want to attract a new relationship, you need to change the vibration.
And then would you just stay focused on those vibrations of clarity?
Well, so your job for the next week, because we're going to be meeting once a week, your job for the next week is to build this desire or clarity statement and train yourself not to use the word don't, not, and no. That's going to be enough to keep you going right there because you're going to catch, I don't want that, what do I want? And you're all going to come back next week and say, wow, did I ever hear your voice in my head a lot in the last 7 days? So you have written exercise to do, plus you have an ongoing correction vibe that you're going to be making all the time. Okay, let's go down our list quickly. Who else? Feedback?
Lisa.
Hey,
reset
Lisa,
my vibration. Awesome.
So
at any time.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Next?
Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
Again, reset, and also your vibes don't know. You don't know what happened yesterday. There's no memory.
That's right. Law of attraction doesn't keep score. Doesn't have a file folder on every one of us. Yeah. Good.
Michael, it's Frankie. It's reset as well for me. I just, for some reason tonight, just hearing it, I love that reset.
Okay, good. Thanks, Frankie. Next?
Trish? Michael, it's Cheryl. It's reset for me.
Okay, reset for Cheryl. Good. And Trish?
Contrast is essential and just observe it briefly.
Okay, contrast is essential. And just we all have contrast, but just observe it briefly. Thanks, Trish. Next?
This is Kate, Michael, and I think it's hearing law of attraction and going, okay, look at what I must be giving my attention to because look what's showing up or not showing up.
You're taking full accountability when you can look at the crappy stuff and say, ooh, that is ugly. I must be vibrating to attract that.
Yeah.
When the delicious stuff shows up, you say, ooh, that's delicious. I must be vibrating that. That's full accountability, right? When you can be accountable for everything, both the crappy stuff and the good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Kate. Next.
Michelle.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Trust is essential, and then I looked at it briefly. I was trying to do what you said and just ignore contrast and go straight to clarity. It doesn't work.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Next. Hi. What's your name? Wants to go next?
I'll go. It's Nelda, and probably reset again, too.
Okay, good. Some reset. Thanks, Nelda.
Could I ask a question, Michael?
Certainly, yep.
Like, what if you're just getting a void, like there's nothing?
What do you mean you're getting a void?
Like, not meeting anybody, like, I'm not meeting negative men or positive men. I'm just not meeting any men at all.
Yeah, well, I would say I know I can hear it in your vibration. So, I'm going to be Dr. Phil. What do you tell yourself about attracting men? And you know what you say? Well, I don't attract any either way. So, but this is going to put life into it by doing this. Just hang in there. You're in for a treat. Some of you will have to choose between a number of different dates.
Oh, it should only happen to all of us.
A number of good dates.
Yes, a number
Yeah.
Okay,
like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
Michael, can I ask another question? This is Jackie.
Yes,
Say you're in the middle of a relationship and you've got a lot of wonderful things about this person, but there's some negatives on it. You do a contrast on it, and get a clarity, and then focus in on the clarity, and then you'll get that from that same person.
Here's what happens, Jackie, and this is for everybody. As you focus on that little tiny thing about your mate that drives you crazy, what happens to it?
It gets bigger.
And that's what happened with my relationship. I noticed things about my partner that drove me crazy, and they showed up everywhere. It was like, there's that little thing that I said that I didn't like. There's that little thing that I said that I didn't like. And Law of Attraction says, I know, we're doing a good job giving you more of it. So when I change my vibration, the other person doesn't do it as much because because they're not matching it without even knowing they're matching it. Now, we're going to talk about more of this in the future because some of you are in relationships and there's things about your current mate that you don't like, and it's because you're offering it vibrationally and it's a perfect match. So it's really you who's created that thing in your mate that you don't like by observing it too much.
What a horrible thought.
Not really. Well, that is a horrible thought. The good thought is it's changeable.
Good, that's what I'm asking, yes.
Yeah, it's all resettable. So if you are in a current relationship, still do the clarity through contrast and write down the things about your current mate that you don't like. And then you'll say, and as you look at the list, you say, well, here's the 10 things that drives me crazy. I've been talking about it for 7 years. And a little voice in your head will say, no wonder you've been getting it. You've been building the list. Look what you're offering vibration. Law of Attraction couldn't buck that current if it tried.
And heck, that could still give you a long list.
Okay. Anybody else that we haven't heard from that wants to wind up the class?
Yeah, this is Helen. The statement that believing is the result of not having doubt.
Yeah, it's the result of. In other words, it just happens.
Right. Could you just go back, if I can ask this, what you said before, something about full accountability is when something...
Here's the word. I'm going to teach it at a later class, but
okay.
I want to hold it. I want to give it to you now. Accountability is made up of two words. There's two words in accountability. What's one of them?
Account.
And what's the other one?
Ability.
Ability. So your accountability is your ability to account for.
Mm.
In other words, if you attract something really delicious in your life, do you take accountability for that? In other words, do you have the ability to account for why you attracted it? Oh, look at me. I attracted that parking spot. That's here because of me. My vibes did that. My parking angel brought that here. So in other words, you do have the ability to account for why you attracted it. And we brag about it.
Oh,
that's here because of me. I love that. I'm taking full accountability. But when the crappy stuff shows up, is the story the same? Do we take accountability for that? No. Why is that happening to me? Why is the universe doing that to me? Well, you do have the ability to account for why you attracted it. You know why you attracted it? Because you vibrated it, period. But that's a little advanced. We're going to talk more about that in the future.
Okay. thank
one
you.
One more comment, and we're going to wind it up. Who wants to be the last person? Okay, I guess that settles it. So somebody repeat back to me what your homework is, please.
Train yourself.
A long contrast list. This is Debbie.
Yep, build your long
as long as we can get it 50 items.
Okay, and what's the other piece?
So what do I want?
So what do you want? Very good. Okay, and for those of you that, again, want to let your friends know about this, they can still register and they can hear this class and then join the other live classes. But, this is really for you as well. Okay, so let's say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.